Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Think Like a Thought Leader show, where Black entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers like you come to learn how to build wealthy legacies related to the work that you do in the world. And I'm super excited to be having this conversation. I was telling him before we hit record that I was surprised that we haven't connected before now, because our worlds have definitely collided. We've shared clients, we share some of the same business groups that we're in. And I am talking today to Terry Foster, who is a digital marketing guru, if you will. And he's here to help us understand how to position our businesses to profit during the holiday season. So welcome to the show, Terry. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Thanks so much for having me. I am excited to be here and provide some value.
Excellent, excellent. So we have a lot to dive into, and I want to make sure that everyone who needs to see or hear this gets a chance to. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, go ahead, feel free to share it with someone who you believe needs it. And as we're having the conversation, feel free to sound off and text me at 404 737 4957 to tell me what you think about this conversation. And it is going to really be me texting you back. All right, Terry, let's dive into it. Let's get into it. So, for those who are not familiar with what digital marketing is all about, what advertising is all about, can you talk about what it is that you do and the greater mission that drives your work?
Absolutely. So, digital marketing, digital advertising, basically what we do is we run ads and we help our clients generate leads and sales with digital channels. So, digital channels being things such as Facebook or Instagram, you have YouTube, Pinterest, Snapchat, pretty much anywhere digitally online where your customers or clients are at. We produce ads to get in front of those people and get them to buy from you so that you can make more money. So, in a nutshell, at a high level, that's what me and my agency do, is that we help brands grow and scale to seven figures and beyond with profitable paid traffic. And more specifically, our niche is Black-owned businesses. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what we do better than anywhere else out there, I feel. And I just see and I know firsthand the power of paid traffic, the way that it can just absolutely grow and scale a business so that, it comes from, it goes from being a hobby to an actual business where they get to hire people that look like them, they get to give back, and just all types of good stuff. And I believe personally that entrepreneurship is the equalizer. A lot of issues and problems going on in the world, but if you have more successful Black-owned businesses, then the world's going to be a better place.
I agree with that, especially the piece about having more successful Black-owned businesses, which is why I thought you were the perfect person to have this conversation with. What inspired you to go down this particular path as an entrepreneur? So not just becoming an entrepreneur, but deciding, hey, I want to help other entrepreneurs grow and scale their businesses using online digital advertising.
Yes, I mean, it definitely has been a long journey. It's not kind of where I started. I went to school. I graduated with degrees in computer information systems and accounting. So I had a double major. I graduated and I got a good corporate job. I was a computer programmer for, one of the largest companies in Pittsburgh. I went back and got my MBA, and I kind of shuffled around a few companies at the corporate level, but I knew deep down that I was always an entrepreneur. I had that kind of entrepreneurial spirit and drive, but like a lot of people, I got comfortable. So, I was making pretty good money in corporate and things were going okay. So I just kind of got a little bit comfortable. But then I had my son 9 years ago, and that's kind of when I realized that, hey, I need to make a move, because I'm going to look up and my life is going to be over. And I'm just going to be doing the same old, same old. So I didn't want that to happen. So that's when I started to force myself to kind of think about, what is it that I really want to do? And the Facebook advertising and digital media thing, it really just kind of made sense. So there's a long story that won't get fully into because we don't have that much time. Then I became fascinated about digital marketing because I was like, hey, this is really, really powerful. It makes sense. This is going to get really big. So I said, let me just try to see if I can start doing that. So on the side, that's what I did. I just started to learn more about it, and I hustled, and I got a client locally that she was just happened to have a webinar coming up, and she asked me, have I ever ran Facebook ads before? I was like, no, but I've learned about it and we could definitely try it. So that's what I did. And we hit a home run on that webinar. And from there, I was like, I want to focus just on Facebook ads because in the beginning, it was kind of like all social media. It was like social media, it was Google, it was Facebook. But when I ran that first campaign with the Facebook ads, it made a lot of sense. And I was like, if I can tell a client that I can get you more money back than what you're paying me and paying Facebook, then it makes sense. That's a good business model. So I was like, let me go all in on this, and it made sense, like because my computer background helped me from the analytical side of the house, but I also have always had like a skill at being able to craft words to get people to like take action. So that's great for ad copy. So when I was able to
Yeah.
marry those two together, that led to being a good Facebook advertiser. And from there, I just continued to hustle. I still had my full time job. I was doing it on the side for about a year, and then they found out that I was doing it, and I just got like this manager that that's another long story, but pretty much I ended up getting fired about a year later. But I knew it
Wow.
was I knew it was coming, and I was already prepared. I was like, when that happens, I'm going all in on being an entrepreneur. So that day came, I got fired, and I just went all in, and I never looked back since. And that's what I've been doing. And that was almost 6 years ago. And
Wow.
then the second part of your question is how did I get so passionate about helping specifically Black-owned businesses? That also came about 2 or 3 years through the journey because when I first started out, I was hustling like on Upwork and Elance, and I was getting lots of clients, and I was having success, and I was hitting some really good home runs. But then I was like, something still feels like it's missing. Like I'm making money, I replaced my income, I doubled, tripled my income at the corporate. Things were going well, but something was like still missing, and I realized I was helping lots of businesses, and I like helping because I think a minority is pretty much any business owner. So it wasn't like I felt bad, but I knew that there was more to it. I wanted to help people, that looked like me, and that really was amplified when I went to my first event, Traffic Sales and Profit. I had a client, Tyron, who was speaking, so I just went down there to show him some support. And I stepped into the room, and I just, saw so many other Black entrepreneurs that were hungry and it needed success, and that I knew that I could help if I partnered with them for paid traffic. And that's when I kind of did that. And I kind of used that momentum as like, and once I started doing that and start seeing the success of those people and the impact that it had, that's kind of when we niched totally down on Black owned businesses. And yeah, it's just what I love doing.
What an incredible journey. So, Terry, digital advertising, especially using Facebook, Instagram, also Google and others, that has exploded over the last several years. And now the barrier
Mhm.
to entry for advertising your business has never been lower. I want to talk to the business owners who want to advertise online, but don't quite know where to start. So, how does a business owner know it's time to start investing in online ads?
It's time to start investing in online ads if you want to start making more money. So really, it's always time, but obviously you need to prepare and make sure that you're ready. But in terms of mindset, the sooner that you can wrap your head around, like, hey, I need to make sure that I have a budget to market and advertise, the better. Because too many people they get trapped into not starting, and that's a big time mistake. So I want to just encourage everyone that should absolutely be your goal. That doesn't mean that tomorrow you're going to start running ads, but we have to change the mindset, especially in our community,
Yeah.
about advertising. You need to spend money in order to make money, and advertising is just part of that equation. So when you're looking to really get serious and, like I talked about, turn a hobby into like an actual business, then you're going to need paid traffic and you're going to need marketing dollars to do that.
I agree with that. And as someone with a marketing background, um, in my journey, I've seen so many folks sort of bristle at the thought of um, creating a marketing budget, right? Of carving out ad dollars and really instead lean on their social media following, because some folks have our large following, and that sort of seduces them into believing that they have a a pool of people to promote to. So can you talk about why advertising and spending money, investing money in ads is just as important, maybe if more so, than just using your social media accounts? Because I'm sure there's some people watching and listening who might be saying, well, why do I need ads, online ads, when I can just keep posting on social, when I can just keep emailing,
Yes.
keep texting, what have you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you should definitely still be doing those things, especially as a new business and a new brand. Like in the beginning, you need to roll up your sleeves. So that organic stuff that Courtney was just mentioning is important, mainly for proof of concept. So a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that paid traffic and paid ads can like fix everything. It's like the quick fix, and that's not the case. But so
Right.
if you can hustle and you can sell your stuff organically, that people want it, and there's product fit in there. So definitely don't think that you get to skip that step. You should be doing that so that you can generate some money to actually advertise and accelerate your growth. But the reason why you need paid traffic is that eventually that organic well is going to run dry. Facebook doesn't allow too many people to see those posts, so only a certain percentage are going to see them. And you just want to be able to amplify. When you start running paid traffic, there's a lot of benefits. You get to actually pinpoint who's seeing your ad. So if you set up a Facebook ad, you can say, I want it to be African American female between the ages of 30 to 55 that are interested in hair care products that are seeing your ads. If you just rely on organic and friends and family, you're just putting it in front of everyone. Those people may not be your actual customers. So when you start paying for traffic, you get more control over who sees it. So that's important. Also, speed. So when you start paying for traffic, you get a lot more data, and data is so powerful. But unfortunately, data costs money. But when you start paying for traffic, you're not just waiting to see what happens organically, because that can be hit or miss. Like one day, if you get lucky, you can have lots of visitors to your store or your site, and it can be good. But then the next day, you may get nothing. When you pay for traffic, you're going to get that stability. You can control the volume, and that's going to allow you to make better decisions for your business, because now you're making them off of steady data. It's hard to make good decisions where, one day you get 100 visitors, next day you get zero, a week from now you get 200. It's tough for you to be able to forecast and make good decisions as a business owner. And when you pay for traffic, you eliminate that, because you're going to get the data and you can get it quickly. You can make better decisions. So those are a few reasons why you want to, pay for traffic. And obviously the ceiling is much higher. So with organic and just doing that approach, grassroots, you can only touch and reach so many people. With paid traffic, that goes up multiple times.
Okay. So I'm glad that you mentioned that point around creating some sort of consistency and stability, because you're absolutely right about being able to make sound business decisions when you have a data set, when you actually have the information in front of you. You can better strategize. So we have a viewer question that I want to ask. But before that, though, I'm really curious to know. Actually, this is probably a question that maybe all viewers have, but I often get the question, "Well, Courtney, how much money should I start advertising with?" So, Terry, can you? I'm sure that's a question that you probably get all the
Yeah.
time, and I'm sure that there are layered responses to that. So I understand that as well. So can you answer to the best of your ability for folks who might be saying, okay, Terry, I get it. In order to get some consistent data and information and leads and ultimately clients and customers, I do know that I need to start advertising, but how much do I start with?
Yeah, so I do get that question a lot. Like you kind of alluded to, the answer really it depends, but I know that people want an answer. So just in terms of like general benchmarks, I would say like these days, if you want to give yourself a solid shot at being successful and getting data at a relatively good pace, then I tell people that you're looking at about $1,500 a month or about $50 a day. Um, so that gives you the opportunity to test multiple audiences, different creatives, different ad copy, and get data, at a decent pace. So, because really, budget, all that is an indicator of how quickly you can move, how soon can you accumulate data to make decisions. That's really all your budget is an indicator. If you have a bigger budget, that's going to allow you to move more quickly. If you have a smaller budget, you're just going to move slower because now you need to get more time in order to make decisions. So
Mhm.
1,500 is kind of like that sweet spot between not spending a ton but spending enough to get meaningful data. Now that doesn't mean like if you don't have $1,500, that doesn't mean to not start advertising. You can definitely start, but you just have to level your expectations. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer to kind of get that data. And also, if you have a smaller amount, it could just be you just experimenting with the fact that, like, hey, I'm throwing stuff out there. This is me testing. This is me getting a hands-on experience. If I lose the money, it's not the end of the world. One of those types of mindsets. So you can do that for like as little as $10 a day, and which is about $300 a month. Obviously, you're not going to get to 6 or 7 figures spending $10 a day, but it's a place to start, and it's better than nothing because data and learning is important, a part of the process.
Okay. Well, thank you for giving us an idea. So, for those of you who are thinking about creating an ad budget, you heard it from Terry about what you should sort of shoot for to get started. So, Terry, let's get to this viewer question. Um, and they ask, what is the most important lever to pull to generate conversions? In other words, how do you turn eyeballs into dollars and where should you invest the most?
That is a fantastic question. So there are really just 4 things. Creating like winning ads, winning campaigns always comes down to just like 4 things. I call it, if you're a spades player, if you play spades, and you'll get this analogy, but it's like my Joker, Joker, Deuce, Ace analogy. So in Facebook ads and paid traffic, your big joker is your offer. So your offer drives everything. It makes up for stuff that's not as good on the back end, but you have to have a really strong offer. So that's always the most important part of the equation. If your offer is not on point, if it's an offer that people don't want, you can have the best marketers run your ads, you can have the best copy. It's really not going to matter. So big joker is your offer. Your little joker are your creatives. So that's like the videos that you're using for ads, images. Now on Facebook, it's super, super competitive. So you need to have creatives that are good, that stand out and get people to stop the scroll. So if your creatives are not on point, you're going to have a tough time maximizing your ad dollars. So that's a little joker. The deuce of spades, that's your messaging. So that's your ad copy. That's the way that you communicate the value of your products and service. That's the headline you use, the ad copy that's associated with the ad. So again, you want to make sure that you stop the scroll. You want to make sure that you can get people to take that next step. So that's a important part of the equation. And then your ace of spades, that's your targeting, making sure that you're getting in front of the right people, because you can have the right video, right ad copy, but if it's going to someone that's not interested, then you're still not making any money. So those are the 4 levers that you need in order to have success. If you get those 4 things dialed in, when you get those 4 things dialed in, then you're able to really, really scale and have lots of success with Facebook and Instagram ads for sure.
I hope those of you who are watching and listening are taking notes because Terry just gave you some free game. The 4 most important levers and areas to think about and consider in order to run successful ad campaigns. We're going to get right back into this incredible conversation. But first, I want to take a quick moment to share something. Now, if you're watching this or you're listening to this discussion right now, then I have a sneaky suspicion that you're really interested in becoming a thought leader in your industry. A thought leader is someone who is considered an expert among the experts and is the trusted go to in their industry. They also move and inspire and disrupt people with their innovative messages, ideas, and actions. Here's the truth: the vast vision that you have requires you to be regarded as more than just a subject matter expert and more than just a popular influencer. It requires you to be respected as a thought leader. And in times like these, when people all over the world, both online and offline, are searching for someone or something to trust to guide them toward their end goals, it's so necessary to position yourself in this way. Now, this show is all about diving deep into the minds of brilliant Black thought leaders to learn how they think and to learn what they think. But I don't just want to stop at helping you think like a thought leader. I want to help you communicate like one too. Why? Well, because after 15 years of being a communication strategist and as someone who has worked with some of the most well known brands, well respected organizations, and highly regarded thought leaders, I know that the amount of money, the clients, customers, and opportunities that you really want all depend on your ability to clearly communicate the value of your brand, the value of what you have to offer, and the value of your work. So, if you know that you were made for more, and you're ready to claim it, you first have to speak it so that more doors can open for you. And I want to help accelerate that process for you. That's why I created the Thought Leader Assessment. It's a no charge assessment designed to offer you three key things. Number one, it'll reveal the kind of thought leadership characteristics you most likely embody already. Number two, it'll match you with an iconic thought leader so you can have a real world example to look to. And finally, it'll offer you 9 thought provoking questions every emerging thought leader needs to ask and answer in order to increase your influence, scale your impact, and raise your revenue. Again, this thought leader assessment is completely free of charge to you. So, are you ready to discover what kind of thought leader you are? To take the free thought leader assessment, go ahead and text the word quiz to my number at 404-737-4957. Again, text the word quiz to my number at 404-737-4957. And yep, it's me. I'm going to be responding with a link so that you can go ahead and take the assessment, get your results immediately, and start positioning yourself and your brand for more incredible opportunities. All right, now back to the show. Now, Terry, some folks who might be watching and listening might be wondering, well, what's the benefit of advertising online versus advertising offline? Because I think that for some people, there's like an education gap, right? There's this knowledge gap, because when you think about advertising, or when some people think about advertising in the traditional sense, they think of radio spots. They might think of television commercials or billboards. Can you talk about how powerful online advertising is and the benefits of doing that over offline advertising?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like for the example of a billboard, you could put it in a certain neighborhood, so you can kind of slant it to your demographic, but pretty much any and everyone who goes by it can see that billboard. So it's getting in front of everyone, which is not what you want. You want your marketing, your advertising to be laser focused. So, like I said earlier, when you're doing Facebook and Instagram ads, you can get down to the nitty gritty of who's actually seeing your ads. And when you're able to identify who's your ideal customer, who's your ideal client, and put ads in front of them, then obviously you're going to have a lot more success than if you're just hoping that the right person, who drive by sees your ad. That's not the way that you want to market or advertise. Other thing is that you can measure it. It's so much more measurable because on Facebook, you can see how much money you spent versus the amount of sales you generated, the amount of leads you generated. So all of it can be based upon actual measurable data. If you have a radio spot and you're promoting something, how do you know? I mean, you could put like, how did you hear about us? And they can select radio, but I know I don't fill that out most times because
I don't
I'm
either.
lazy.
Right.
So you're not getting the true measurable data because it can't be measured. Whereas when you're running Facebook and Instagram ads, the pixel tracks it. So you're able to say, I put X amount of dollars in, I got Y back. You can't do that with a radio. You can't do that with a billboard. It's just super, super hard to track when you use those offline, methods. And really now everyone's online. So you always want to go to where your customers or your clients are at. And trust me, they're on Facebook or Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest, they're somewhere, YouTube, Google, they're somewhere online. So meet your people where they are.
Oh, yes. Meet your people where they are. Now, Terry, because the barrier to entry for online advertising is so low, that also means that the marketplace is really crowded with folks claiming to be digital advertising experts. But not every digital marketer is created equally, and not every self proclaimed marketer knows how to run ads effectively. And I'm sure you can write an entire diatribe about this.
Yes,
um,
absolutely.
so I want to talk to the seasoned business leaders who are at the point where they need to hire expert support to help them execute their advertising. They don't want to do it themselves. They're at the point where it doesn't make sense for them to do it themselves. What should they look for as they're vetting the right expert or agency to support them so they won't lose money or time?
Well, the proof is always in the pudding. So, I mean, the first thing is want to check is make sure that they have success stories, they have case studies, and even better if they are within your niche or industry, because some people, they may work with a specific type of niche, specific type of business. So if that's your business, that's better because now they have experience in your market, talking to your audience. That's why I feel we're so good with Black-owned businesses because we know the audience because we are the audience. If you're talking about other agencies, they may know how to push the buttons within Facebook, but they don't know the culture, so they're not going to make as effective ads as we can make. So you want to make sure that there's a good fit and that they know your market, that they have experience in it. So you want to have them show you and talk about previous results. That's definitely a big thing. If you can see like testimonials, so if they're doing good work, they should have testimonials. Like if you come to our website or see our ads, we let our clients do the talking for us. We don't pat ourselves on the back. You'll see our customers patting us on the back. So if you're looking for someone, you want to take that in consideration. But you also want to look for soft skills, someone that, especially if you're going to take a flyer on someone, because of course, if you're working with like a larger agency that's charging you several $1,000s a month, they may have those things that I spoke about, but that may not be the place that you want to start. Maybe you're looking to start off of a freelancer that's hungry and that is just looking for that opportunity, and some of that is just like you gauge anyone in general, like do they really seem committed? Has there been any red flags in the initial conversations that kind of scare you away? Do you have a good pulse? Because sometimes you can find some diamonds in the rough like that, because that's kind of how I started off as a freelancer, not charging as much as we charge now, things like that. But I wanted to get better, and I just needed the opportunity. So you can definitely find people like that as well that may not have a long list of case studies and things like that, but you can get them at a discounted price and it could be worth a shot.
Okay. So, Terry, from what you've seen, how has the world of online advertising changed since the pandemic?
Oh yeah, it's it's definitely changed. So when it first started, back in April, May, it went really, really, really crazy in a good way for like our e-com brands because my agency, we worked primarily with e-com brands. So everyone was in the house, everyone was buying probably because they were bored. Then when
Yeah.
the stimulus check hit, that's when things really went good because they were spending that money as soon as they got it. So business was really good when the stimulus checks
Get
came in.
get the check
So we
and
were looking.
spend it right back, right?
Yep. Yeah. I'm hoping they get another stimulus so that happens again. But for a lot of people, especially like if you got local based businesses, and there's been a lot of businesses and a lot of marketers definitely heavily impacted, by COVID and kind of just took them out overnight. So, there's two sides to the coin for sure. But, basically a lot more businesses are now aware of like how powerful digital is, like restaurants and things like that. A lot of people transition
Yeah.
online. So I know that some of the larger brands and businesses are putting more energy into online efforts because now the physical locations aren't going to generate as much money. So it's really at the high level is going to cause things to get more competitive because more people are going to come online, which means more dollars are going to be spent online, which means costs are going to go up and things like that. So it's going to force people to kind of embrace it because it's going to be like it's definitely the major place to play right now, more so
Mm.
now than before the pandemic.
And I can see how that is the case. So, Terry, I've read somewhere that this holiday season, Black Friday weekend sales are expected to be a record breaking $180 billion, even in this pandemic. But getting ready for and cashing in big on Black Friday weekend sales isn't necessarily something that a business owner can do overnight, right? Or the week of. So you've worked with a number
Mhm.
of clients, and I'm sure that you've seen a lot of what works and what doesn't. So, from what you've seen, what do the most successful business leaders do to prepare their businesses to profit during the holiday shopping season?
Prepared. So you slid that word in there, but it's definitely about preparation. So like the best Black Friday, Cyber Monday weeks we had are definitely those clients that have put the most preparation in. So you can't just do it like a week or two before you want to. Think about the actual, it's a project. What your offer is going to be, what's the logistics behind it, so you can make sure that you can keep up with demand, customer service, that type of stuff you need to all, prepare for. In terms of actual offers, I mean, you definitely need to make sure that you have a strong offer. People are getting flooded that week with really great offers. So, if you're giving 5% off or you're giving free shipping, that's really not going to entice people that much unless, you're selling something high ticket and you've never run discounts. Like if Apple gave 10% off, that probably would be
Right.
a big deal. But for most businesses, that's really not going to move the needle too much. So you want to think about what you can do to move the needle, and you got to know your numbers though, because there's no sense of giving heavy discounts if your margins can't absorb that. So you have to know your numbers and what makes sense. And you also want to definitely a major key is to figure out how you can maximize your average order value. So I was just having this conversation with a client of ours as we were prepping and finalizing the offers. Is that sometimes it's better for you to do like a buy one get one free as opposed to giving 35% off, because you can keep your regular price, so your AOV is going to be higher, and then if your product cost is less than what it would cost if you were given like a 35% or 40% off discount, you can actually be better off that way, and still equally as valuable to the customer because now if they bought an $80 bundle and they're getting one for free, they're thinking they're getting $80 for free,
Yeah.
where that $80 bundle may only cost the business owner $10, as opposed if they gave 40% off, that would cost them $32.
Yeah.
So a lot of it comes down to really knowing your numbers and figuring out how you can get people to spend more per transaction, because people are spending if you can incentivize them. So orders over $100 gets a tier discount. You spend over 200 and maybe a little bit more. So think about creative ways to maximize your AOV to get people to spend more, and don't rely totally on just how big of a discount can you give, because that could lower your AOV for sure. And then if your margins are tight, you may not make as much money as you want to.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned, warning against uh, uh, deep discounts, especially if you have a product that or a service, really, too, or an offer, whatever it is, that may not be. It may not be feasible for you to do that as much. And I've seen other brands attempt at trying to cash in on the Black Friday weekend by doing the deep discounts, and they find that their sales might have increased, but also the caliber of customers and clients might not be up to par, or might not be at the level where they typically are. And so some of those folks might fall off, but they may not be returning customers or clients. So can you talk a little bit about that too? About how discounts, if you're not careful, can really erode the value of a brand?
Yeah, I mean, so really that's being in tune with your brand and your audience. So that's going to be different for, every business, just like, there's some stores and some brands that, aren't running deep discounts. Like they're not going to Gucci on Black Friday and getting 40% off. They just they don't do business like that. So if you have to kind of know your brand and really, more importantly, kind of like know your numbers, because on the flip side, and the type of business, because there's some people too, like this is advanced level thinking, but sometimes you can do deep discounts where you're okay with just breaking even or even losing a little bit if you know that they're going to enjoy your product or your service so much that they're going to stick around, and that customer lifetime value. You're so confident in it that you're okay with going in the hole on that initial purchase because you're going to get that money back.
Yeah.
So again, you have to kind of just know your business model. You have to know your numbers, and that drives the strategy.
Absolutely. And I'm a big fan of The Profit. Do you watch The Profit, Terry, with Marcus
Absolutely.
Lemonis?
Yes, I do.
And
Yep.
he often says, if you do not know your numbers, you do not know your business. So it might
Yep.
sound like we are broken records, but that is at the foundation of everything, every decision that you're going to make, especially with your advertising dollars. So, I'm sure that Terry and his agency, his team probably don't even take on clients that don't know their numbers, because that is a recipe for disaster. So Terry,
Yep.
I feel it feels like every year the holiday shopping season gets extended, meaning a lot of deals are starting to appear earlier. And I've been seeing even some commercials from big box retailers where they talk about how deals will be available throughout the entire holiday season, not just on Black Friday weekend like we're used to. So do you think that this trend will continue? And what does that mean for business owners, small business owners specifically, who might rely on the Black Friday weekend to surge their end of the year profits?
Yes, I mean, I definitely think that that trend is going to continue. I mean, it's going to continue as long as they're making money doing it. So it makes sense. They want to make sure that they get to the money first, because if I see something that I really like on Tuesday and I spend all my money, when Black Friday comes, I may not buy something. So that's the theory, is that they just want to get people sooner. Like, how early can you go? I guess
Yeah.
we're going to find out, because, like you said, people are already doing it. For our clients, we definitely don't advise them to wait until Friday. Typically, at minimum, it should be Thanksgiving, but we like to sprinkle in deals like as early as Monday. It's not going to be the biggest deal or the major deal, but deals are happening. So it's a competition. It's an auction. You're competing with other businesses. So if they're running discounts on Monday and you're not, you're giving them the upper hand. So there's a fine line and a balance of that, but you have to definitely be aware of what's going on, be aware of your industry, because that can also change by industry, like how far in advance people are running discounts.
Now, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about scaling in business, because that's what your agency does for brands. And since
Yeah.
I know some folks watching or listening may be at the point where they're aiming for more revenue than ever, I want to make sure I squeeze in this question. Now, you have a business accelerator group where you help entrepreneurs scale to six figures. So, can you talk about what that is, who it's for, and where folks can go to learn more about it?
Yeah, so our business accelerator group that was it was launched in May of 2020, and that was one of the things. Like when the pandemic hit, we understood that a lot more businesses they need the help, they need the foundations in order to be successful with paid traffic, and they may not be ready or able to invest at that point in time to be like one of our done for you clients, because there's a certain threshold to be one of our done for you clients. But we know and understand that businesses needed the help and support, so we put together a program that was designed to help those people get the help they need. So it's a group coaching format, but within a group we focus on three core pillars. The first being branding, the second being creatives, and then the third being paid traffic. Because what we found out, especially for like smaller businesses that haven't dove into paid traffic, they start spending money on Facebook. They're getting horrible results. They say Facebook ads don't work. They quit and they give up. But the reality is that they shouldn't even spend money on Facebook ads yet, because they had holes in their branding or they had holes in their creatives. So really, you need to check the boxes before you even start paid traffic. So for our bag, we call it the bag. Our bag program, when you come in, you take those assessments. So you take a branding assessment, you take a creative assessment, and you take a paid traffic assessment. If you don't pass the branding assessment, then you work with your branding coach until you get to a point where you can pass it, and then you focus on the creatives. If you don't pass the creatives, then you work with the creative coach until you get a passing score, and then you focus on the paid traffic. So it just helps people to avoid jumping in too early and losing money. So there's that aspect of it. So there's weekly calls. So actually, I have one today that I almost forgot about. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, we have calls. So most of them are facilitated by me. Like today, we actually one time a month we bring on a guest expert. So you get that. There's a private Facebook community where you can ask questions. So basically, it's not like we have a regular course that we sell, which is the info product, but we found out that while the course is good, sometimes people just need that extra support. They need to be able
Right.
to ask a question. They may be able to, say, "Hey, is this ad good? Am I targeting the right people?" So with our business accelerator group, you get that level of support. So it's a really good option for those people that are serious about growing and scaling their business. There is work involved because we're not doing it for you. So you have to be willing to show up at the calls, consume the content. Like there's a Facebook ads training course that you get access to. So you really get to set that foundation that you need to have success with paid traffic, to get in a position where then you can afford to pay an agency or someone else to do it. Because for most business owners, that shouldn't be their aspiration to be an expert Facebook
Right.
advertiser. That's not the best use of their time. But you need to be able to generate revenue from your business in order to hire someone for it to make sense. So that's what our back program is for. And then we have students that get to that point, and then of course they hire us to do it, and we're all happy. So that's the program. You can find out more about it at terryfosterconsulting.com/get the bag. So GETTHEBAG. So that's going to tell you all about the bag program.
Awesome. 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 So if you're interested in learning more how to scale around how to scale your business to at least the six-figure mark, definitely check out that mentorship program with Terry Foster Consulting. Now, Terry, you've helped 9 clients crack the $1 million mark in sales in their business within a calendar year. That is huge. Not too many people, not too many digital marketers or advertising experts can brag about that. Can you talk about what your most gratifying client success story is, and what how it impacted the way that you support business leaders?
I mean, That's a tough question. We love all of our clients for sure. So it's hard to narrow it down to, just one example for sure, because that's a celebration pretty much every single time that, that happens. But, it's just extremely gratifying to kind of see people being able to, they may start where they still have their jobs. So we've had clients where, they made enough money, now they can make it a full-time job, or maybe, it was their full-time business, but they were doing everything themselves. So now they're able to expand and build a real team. We've seen that. We've seen people move into bigger manufacturing places, so all that stuff is just, amazing. And at the end of the day, we kind of, we monitor our success on a cumulative level, what we're doing across all of our clients. And when we kind of look at the economic impact that, we're having in our community, that's really what's the most gratifying thing about this is really we're just helping, Black entrepreneurs and Black business owners be successful. And that's what we're about. And, that's what's gratifying.
Awesome. So you have had such an interesting journey in entrepreneurship. You shared part of that journey with us a little bit earlier. What did you have to unlearn in order to experience success and help your clients experience success?
Yeah, that is a never-ending journey. Definitely things I had to unlearn because I really didn't have, I jumped into this and I was corporate, but I didn't have any experience running a business, and now I have a team of like 25 people. So many things I had to unlearn. But I guess, one of the first things and most important things is just the mindset around it. I had to look or operate in a certain type of fashion since, I didn't have that experience. So a lot of times you have the belief that you're not good enough or, will people pay this amount or can I really do this for my clients? So getting around like the self-limiting belief is really, really important in terms of like scaling and taking the leap that we have, just, also embracing paid traffic. So like my agency has grown tremendously once we started, running paid traffic for our business. So, a lot of times we were focusing on our clients ads and we weren't really running on our ads and our funnels and things like that. So, my business is a testament of like the impact that successful paid traffic can have in scaling your business really, really quickly. So, the mindset just around money. So one of the
Yeah.
things that I really wish that, especially our community, would change is the fact that you have to be able to separate your personal finances from your business finances. And a lot of times, we don't do that. We keep it all as one, but you can't do that. You have to have your business money and then have your personal money. Don't let them intertwine. But you have to be more aggressive with your business, capital money. You have to be willing to spend it to make more back. You can be more conservative, with your personal money. That's fine, but you have to have money in business that you're willing to spend, to build a team, to, invest in better products or services. All that stuff is part of the process. And, too many times we're limiting ourselves and our success because we just don't have the proper mindset. So that's a big one too.
Yeah, that scarcity mindset will kill the growth of a business very, very quickly. So, Terry, I consider you a thought leader in this space. So many others, especially your clients, consider you a thought leader in this digital marketing space. What thought leaders have helped you along your journey?
Good question. Yeah, so definitely like the event that I spoke about that I went to 3 years ago in Atlanta, that was Traffic Sales and Profit, and the founder of that is Lamar Tyler. So I've been
Shout out to
involved in that
Lamar.
community. Yep, since then I'm in the mastermind program. So he is doing amazing things for the Black community. So that's definitely a big one that I follow. And then there's of course people in the digital marketing space early on. What kind of helped springboard my success was having a chance to work with Dominate Web Media, Keith Krantz, Ralph Burns. They have a pretty big agency with really big podcast. So I was able to work with them early on and learn a lot of stuff. And I think that has accelerated my growth. There's people like Ezra Firestone that's in the ecom game. So I'm a big time, student in the game. There's a lot of people that I try to learn from for sure. Billie Jean. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I mean, because of the industry that you're in, you have to keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on. You have to constantly approach, I'm sure, this game as a beginner. So,
Yep.
Terry, where can people go to connect with you and learn more about working with your agency?
Yeah, you can definitely go to terryfosterconsulting.com. Our general website. We're on Facebook and Instagram also, at Terry Foster Consulting. Facebook is Terry Foster Consulting. I think YouTube, we have some videos, Terry Foster Consulting. So yeah, that's where you want to go online to check us out. We have pretty much wherever you're at, we have a way to help you. So if you're on the lower end and just want to learn more about Facebook ads, we have our Facebook ads playbook online training program. It's only $27. We have stuff cheaper than that in terms of like info products. Again, if you want more support than that, we have our Business Accelerator group that starts at $197 a month. And then, of course, if you're ready to go all in, then we have our Done For You services as well. So wherever you're at, if you're looking to get better with paid traffic, we can help you.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to stop by the show, Terry, and to drop so many incredible gems around digital marketing and advertising, especially helping those who might be watching and listening who have businesses prepare for the holiday season. So I appreciate you taking the time.
You are welcome. It's been fun. Thanks, everyone.
Now, if you enjoyed this conversation and it inspired you in some way, then please feel free to spread the word by sharing it with someone who you believe needs to see or hear it. And if you love today's show, you'll definitely want to sign up to be notified when I have other insightful conversations to help you build wealth related to your calling by texting me at 404-737-4957. That way, you'll never miss another discussion when it airs, and you'll also periodically receive communication tips to help you position your brand and business as a thought leader in your industry. And finally, in an effort to stay true to our vision and remain unbought, unbossed, and unapologetic, we've created the opportunity for those of you who enjoy this transformational content to support us monetarily through Patreon. So for as little as $5 a month, you can invest in a network dedicated to creating programming for the upliftment and enrichment of Black people through media and entrepreneurship. So to patronize us, please visit thinklikeathoughtleader.com and hit that green button that says, "Let's build this." Or if you're more comfortable doing a one-time contribution instead, you can go ahead and click that blue button, which allows you to give via PayPal. Your monthly or one-time investment will help build a groundbreaking multimedia company that will shift paradigms and empower a generation of leaders and entrepreneurs with thoughtful programming and high quality content. So, to learn more about how you can donate and how you can patronize us, please visit thinklikeathoughtleader.com. And we thank you so much in advance for your support. That's all for us. Thanks for tuning in.